We're back at the track for the second running of our annual Tire Rack track test. And this year we have two exciting new additions to the Extreme Performance Summer category. The Bridgestone Potenza Race was engineered for consistency, longevity, and of course speed on the track. But since it's more of an endurance-focused tire, we chose the Continental ExtremeContact Force as the benchmark, which was the fastest of the endurance tires in our last track test. The other new tire is the Nankang Sportnex CR-S. This is the updated version, and its primary focus is on helping drivers set the fastest possible lap. To see if it accomplished that goal, our benchmark tire is the consumer favorite Yokohama ADVAN AO52. Our two new tires have two tough hurdles to clear, and we're excited to find out how they stack up. To get the most out of our testing and also ensure our BRZs were ready for use on the track, we made some minor modifications in the days leading up to our test. We added Whiteline adjustable camber bolts and gave all our cars identical alignments with 2 degrees of negative camber at the front wheels. The added negative camber would help use more of the tire's contact patch through turns, enhancing traction and also improving wear. Front and rear TR Select brake kits with Hawk DTC 60 pads and Centric 120 series rotors were also installed and properly bedded in to make sure we could confidently slow our cars without any fade that would interfere with our results. Once those important items were addressed, we were ready to hit the track. The Bridgestone Potenza Race was the first tire of the day, and it was a nice place to start. The steering was accurate and predictable, making it easy to place the vehicle where our drivers wanted through turns. It wasn't as quick to respond or as direct as the other tires in the test though, so there wasn't as much front-end authority as we would have liked. Even so, the Potenza Race was a nice tire to drive. It had strong traction and typically would default to gentle understeer if the driver pushed too hard. There was a small amount of easily controllable power-on oversteer at corner exit, but it didn't seem to hurt lap times. The Potenza Race was significantly faster than its endurance-focused benchmark, nearly 0.8 of a second per lap on average. Our driver's notes were full of praise for the steering from the Continental ExtremeContact Force. Turn-in was quick and decisive. Some thought the steering was just a little light for a track-focused tire, but that was easily overlooked thanks to its fluid, natural feel and direct response to inputs. Ultimate grip was a step behind the competition, so our team couldn't carry as much speed through turns. Additionally, when really pushing the limits, the balance of the ExtremeContact Force was neutral to oversteer biased, so the rear end moved around more than the other tires in the test. It was very easy to keep in check, but sometimes it felt like wasted motion. The Nankang Sportnex CR-S was a winner for our team in every way. The steering was impressively responsive and direct. It pointed the front of the vehicle with authority, and it had the traction to stick to the chosen line. The rear axle felt planted as well, allowing our drivers to commit to more throttle through the S's and get back to power more immediately after the apex of every turn. The handling balance leaned a very slight understeer, which just made it that much more confidence-inspiring to push to the absolute limit. If there was one minor complaint, it's that the steering was a little digital. We would have liked some additional feel and feedback at the wheel. Of course, that wasn't much of a concern as the Sportnex CR-S was setting the fastest laps of the test. The Yokohama ADVAN AO52 was a solid performer as well. The steering had additional feel, but wasn't quite as immediate as its primary competitor. It also was more prone to understeer, particularly at corner exit, where our drivers had to wait a moment to ensure the nose was pointed exactly where they wanted the vehicle to go before getting back to power. Attempting to commit to throttle too soon would consistently result in the front end pushing wide. Even so, the outright traction was very high, especially under braking, where the Yokohama made up some time to stay just a breath behind the test leader. We had a great day of testing and came up with some solid data. In addition to the tires in the test, we also ran some extra control tires to help tie these results into our last track test. We had much cooler temperatures this time around, and everything was a little bit faster, with the exception of the ExtremeContact Force. But honestly, that's not that surprising for a tire that's so focused on longevity and consistency. So, with a little fuzzy math, we could put these new competitors in the overall hierarchy of extreme performance summer tires. The Bridgestone Potenza Race is balanced and easy to drive. Our testing doesn't evaluate wear,
But in terms of outright speed, it seems to be a big step ahead of the other endurance-focused tires in the category, and it's approaching the Super 200 tires. The Nankang Sportnex CR-S is a very fast new option in the category, and it definitely gives competitors another good choice to consider. The steering is immediate, it has impressive traction, and it's planted and balanced at the limit.